welcome back to Studio Tamera, the Mystical Paintress. Today, we are going to be doing a fall plein air painting. Let's go. So this is the scene before us. A gorgeous fall color changing, amazing day with a moody sky. So we are going to start out with a canvas toned in burnt sienna, and then we're gonna, use a wash, get it real thinned out with some Gamsol or something. And then we're going to squint, and we're going to place in our darkest darks. In oil, you work from thin to thick, from light to dark. So I'm thinking what we're gonna do here is a nice dark. This is going to be dark. I'm just doing the wash right now. This is like the skeleton, like the underneath of a painting. So this kind of just goes in, gets lost here, right? And we have all these little happy, whatever the heck that is. And we have a bunch of stuff here. And I might even put a witch in this painting. Nice little Halloween skeleton witch. We'll see what evolves. This painting event today is going to be just a really fun journey. See what happens. Okay, there's the scary part all done. Now, if your painting's too watery, don't be afraid to take and just wipe it like this. You still have your bare bones there. Got some Halloween fingernails. Woo! Being an artist, I don't have much for fingernails, but okay, so I'm starting with big brushes. Big brushes, I have here 12s. So we are taking our darkest darks, which in this case is ultramarine blue, burnt umber, mixing them, squinting. I've already done a no-no, and I've got light on my board, direct sunlight. I should go get my Shade Buddy umbrella, but I'm feeling a little sassy today, and I'm going to just wing it. Isn't this fun? So right now I'm kind of painting in where I see dark, and I see a couple tree branches in here that are really, really dark. I'm going to just suggest them. You don't want them all the same thickness, and you don't want them all the same anything, or they don't look real. I'm really looking at the tree the same way I would look at if I were painting a person. Okay, let's bring you in and show you this. So this is where I'm at right now. Let's continue. So I'm hoping you can see what I'm doing. So the dark is dark and, oh, hi, Ra. Hi, Ra. Say hello. Okay, back to work. I'm using a little broken browns and blues. And I'm just squinting at where these might be. This side of this tree is very dark. That's very dark. Tree branches get lighter as they go toward the sun. They also get less sharp. And over here we've got a couple, but they're lighter, much lighter tree branches coming up. I don't know why, but they are. Just gonna take a little terp here and kind of get this one in if I can. This brush is really being fussy. These rosemaries. Let me get a different brush. See if this will work any better for me. Let's see. Oh, much better. Moves much better. Okay. Again, I'm just trying to get a little feel of what's out here. Got this tree here that's kind of, and then it just goes like that, right? So you have to really study your scene wherever you're at. And then this goes into here, kind of like this. So what I'm doing right now is I'm building the background. I'm building in the skeleton background of this scene. Okay. Now over here we do have some more big trees, and I do want to have them in. I just don't want them to be the overwhelming focal point. I want to keep our eye. So this is where we're at right now. I've established darkest darks, and we are going to move on. Okay, so real quick, I just brushed in some sap green, watered down with some Gamsol, a little yellow ochre. Just brushed it in real light here for the bushes in the foreground. Took a little bit of the brown and blue, placed it here. Even though water reflects what's above, we have a slime green looking canal here. Slime, I meant to say lime green color canal. So that means we need to put that lime green color into the water. So I mixed sap green, cad yellow light, and white, and I just put it in there. And don't be afraid to put paint on your board, please. So many times I'm teaching at galleries and students have this tiny little gob. Don't be afraid to use paint. You're painting. That's what it's for. So be bold. Take a nice big hunk of that paint. And that's what we got here. All this little, it's called duckweed. It's actually got a lot of protein, and that's what the ducks eat. It looks like little baby floating lily pads. It's actually not slime at all. So if it gets too green, add a little cad yellow light, add a little white, go right over it. I should have the shade buddy. I have the sun on my board. It's a major no-no, but makes it much easier for you to see, first of all. And that's good. Also, a nice little trick here is put a tiny bit more white in and do the far water line just a little, like that. There, and then just take your brush. Water runs flat, you know this. Then we're just gonna suggest a little in here under these, whatever these are. Don't overdo it. Biggest mistake students make in plein air painting, they overdo it. Okay, so there's our slime. We're gonna leave that there. I'm happy with that. Let's check our color. Yeah, it's not too bad. The fountain here is breaking up the water. Otherwise, all the duckweed would be this light, beautiful green. So the next thing I would like to do is establish our sky. I am using a size 6 flat rosemary. I'm going to take a little white, a little bit of my violet gray, and a little bit of cobalt blue. I'm going to see what we come up with here. Our sky is kind of ominous. Dip it in the Gamsol always to make the paint a little softer. And I'm just going to touch the brush very lightly to the... Oh, I like that color. I love it. It's a very nice color for our sky. Let's get this board attached here. There we go. Yeah, I like this color. This is a good color, I think. What do you think? How's your color looking? Did you get a nice, ominous kind of looking, happy, moody gray October? That's what we should do. We should create our own line of paint. We could have moody October and happy spring and... I'm just kidding. All right, back to work here. You want a couple spots that are slightly darker. You don't want it all the same. Don't touch your tree line. Just let your brush kind of dance and be happy here. See how it's just kind of dancing, and that's okay. Now we do want to carry this little bit of color into our painting somewhere else other than just the sky, because the harmony, your eye likes to travel and see things. So first thing I want to do though is put in a couple sky holes, just a couple. You can overdo these very quickly. You don't want sharp edges. We're going to blend some of these anyways in a little bit here when we get to the next part, but for right now, I'm just looking at what I see. Put in some sky holes. I'm using a very big brush on purpose. This is not the detail part, so it's okay. Okay. I'm deliberately placing these, even though it looks like I'm doing this fast and haphazardly. These are actually being deliberately placed. When I squint and I look at the picture, so. I'm going to add a little white over here because this is a little lighter. I'm just looking at what I see in front of me. If I see it, I'm putting it in. Okay. There. I like that. That's cool. That's fun. Yeah, so far I'm okay with that. Might add a tiny bit more dark up here just to give it a little more 3D-ish effect. Like, we know something ominous is out there, but what is it? There's also blue sky coming in, but you don't want blue skies right now. That's a good sky. Okay. Next thing I'm doing is putting a little burnt umber, violet gray, and I'm mixing like a violet brown gray. You don't want your eye going here, but you can't mistake the fact that we've got these guys in here. So we got to mix a color and put these guys in. When I squint, I just see that these guys are in here. What are they? I don't know. It doesn't matter. But we're going to put them in. We don't want the eye to go there, so we don't want them excessively dark. But when I look up, it is dark, so. Okay. See right in there, that like grayish? That's what that was. The next step is I'm going to use that same pile of brown, blue, dark, add a little sap green, and get kind of a grayed out green color. Use a little Gamsol to thin it. You can wipe it on the rag if you have too much Gamsol. Gamsol is just the safest form of a turpentine or a odorless mineral spirit type thing. So I'm just going to add a little dark here into my woods. Really love these woods a lot. Need a little bit more of that gray color. Too green. And we want to keep it thin, remember? I am just putting this in. This isn't going to live here. This is just a temporary kind of, for me, I'm trying to figure out what exactly I'm doing. A lot of this I want to suggest and not have it steal your eye. But we got to have greens to make the reds back there pop. And there are some greener trees still. Our mighty beautiful oak trees we have around here, and I'm very grateful for that. They lose their leaves last, so Mostly what you're seeing right now is the maple trees that are changing color. I call this giant one back here the lion tree because it looks like it has this beautiful lion's mane. See that? Maybe that's a little easier for you to see what I'm doing. And I'm just going to let the brush kind of dance. I'm not doing any specific anything, okay? Just going to let my brush dance. Ever let your brush dance? It's fun. Just let the brush dance, just like that. So we want to keep this front area very minimal. We don't want any attention really going here. We've got some things in here, but we really don't want just suggest a few things in here. I actually don't even want it that bright. I don't even know now that I'm thinking about it if I want the water that bright. I might wipe a little bit of this. There, that's better. Okay. As you see, something very common in plein air, the sky is now blue. We drew it in when it was gray, these beautiful grays. Now it's blue. Don't chase the light and change your colors. Okay, next. Next, I'm going to take a, what is this, 8 flat, and I'm going to take some yellow ochre, and I'm going to take some sap green, and I'm going to take some burnt umber. Very lightly, I'm going to feather in some of these trees. If you want to add a little gray, you can. Gray just knocks your hues down. You don't want to draw attention to your hues everywhere. Hues means the color vibrancy, so to speak, right? So like for example, back here, I don't want the eye to go back there at all. This is all pretty gray in here, grayed out. When you look at nature, you think everything's green, but when you start looking at it, oh, it's not even a little. Paint what you see and you'll be correct. I need to add a little green to this now. So I want to feather in this little tree, this one. The way I'm going to do that is just using ever so slightly the side of the brush a little yellow ochre. Not doing the orange yet, we'll do that later. Just starting to do the feathering of the tree. So we dip the brush into the ochre mix, then you come up and ever so slightly, gonna just feather it in. I don't even know if feather's the right word. You're just gonna touch it. I'm not doing the orange yet, but this just gives you the illusion of all those luscious little things going on out there that we can't quite tell what's going on. But something is. See? You see a little bit of this color also back in behind here. There's a little tree in the background here. Everything's making friends. Everything in nature all lives together. Everything's making friends. We're kind of developing that relationship in the background here behind all of this. We're kind of laying that in right now. Now this big beautiful maple tree does have some darker darks up in the tree itself. So, oh boy, not that dark. Lordy. Too green, add brown. Too brown, add green. Right now we just want muddy, earthy colors. Too much color, add gray, like that. See? You can do that too. And we just want light, feathery things. See, the reason we need dark is you won't see the light, highlights, unless you're on top of dark. But you don't want so dark you don't want it so dark that it's black, because that's not accurate either. Painted this scene so many times. Every time of year is different. Every painting's different. Every painting's just so much fun to do. Any fall scene is fun to do. So the top of this has a lot more of the ochre, the tired summer, tired green. So we're just going to put it in real light, really lightly. Let the brush just dance and have fun. Now we've got all the bare bones here done. All our bare bones are here for this lovely tree and its majestic qualities. I love this tree so much. This is my very favorite tree. It used to be an oak tree, and then the wilt got the oak tree. Notice I'm not adding paint right now. I'm just moving all these around. And this tree is friends with this one. And that's really all we're doing right now, is just establishing our darks. Okay, we got a little more down here now. If it's too green and it looks fakey, add your gray. Pause it, rewind it. And you can paint right along with me. This is all for you. It's actually a lot more difficult to talk when you paint than most people realize. But I'm doing this for you, all my friends out there and students stuck at home with COVID and wanting to do painting and contacting me. So absolutely. Paint along, do a beautiful little painting for your wall. It'll make you feel happy. Okay, so this is starting to look like this tree here. Very cool. We are getting there. And now I just feel the urge to dance. Okay, back to painting. I'm not a good dancer. Something very important about when you're painting trees, tree trunks come up and at the end they make little Ys. So you look, you want to very lightly do these. Look, study your tree, look at where the branches come, and they come out into these little Ys. And every now and then we'll have one in the woods, in the background. You don't want them all the same shape and color. And we got one here. If I see it, I'm putting it in. Okay? Just like that. Get your tree trunks in. Tree trunk. Once we have our tree trunks in, we can mix a little bit of greens and just kind of come in and put some of these branches that we see. So we're gonna come in, they come through here. And they just very delicately sit here. We're getting there. So by now we are getting the idea of our scene behind. One thing I noticed that kind of bothered me is that it looks like I have two bright sky holes. And when I look up there, there should maybe be one here, here. There might even be one up here. Try and capture the personality of your tree. There, that might be better. Also, this little fella has a couple. There's a few out here. Just squint, and all of a sudden you'll see. What you don't want to do is a bunch of polka dots everywhere. So if it's starting to look like that, wipe them out. You want to keep your center of interest. We're going for right there, unless I decide to put a witch in it, which would be really cool because this is a Halloween special. This is so fun. So now we are just putting final colors. Please remember less is more so you don't overdo it. As you can see, I've already added a few slight touches. So the yellow ochre, just use a little bit and just kind of let it dance in your bushes here and there. A little bit, less is more. If you do too much, if you decide at the end you want to put in a few trees, you just use some watered down gray, put in a few dead trees. So as you see, our painting and our trees very similar. Might want to tone down a little bit of this green, do a little bit in the details, but we're getting there. It's about done actually. When I was a kid, trick-or-treating was done in this pail, and I carried it all over the neighborhood. Sometimes I went through twice. Since it's a Halloween special, I wanted to share my pail. Now, we're gonna finish this painting. What do you think, Ra? Ready? All right, we need to finish this painting fast because I see dark sky on the horizon. Even put a little bit of that in here, couldn't we? Yeah, we don't want to mess it up too much, but the leaves are falling while we paint this. At any rate, okay. So what I really want to do is just a few highlights, the finishing touches, get this done. I do want to have a light here, so your eye is drawn back here. Because even though we don't have sunny skies, the sun has kind of been in and out of here. Oh, that's good enough. Just a little something. We're going to do a couple little dots in the water too, here and there. Just because this is a swampy canal. I love it, but it does have a little bit of irregularities here and there. So there's that. All right. Okay. Now the next thing, I want to really hit this red. It's actually turning orange now. Kind of just dancing all in this tree. And down in here there's a little more. This is just really a bright cherry red, and it just kind of glows up here. So I definitely want to make sure I've got that. And this down here is a little darker. Not quite the same cherry red. Break that up a little. See, my dog is in the background there, frog hunting or something. I'm not quite sure, but and then we're just, if you notice, like I'm not talking, but I'm just putting a little bit of color here and there. Not a lot, not even enough probably to make a difference, but I feel like I just need a little bit elsewhere. Everything's starting to change in here. correct your sky holes too, and you can constantly put branches in them or whatever else you might need to do here. Because I feel like we have maybe a little more green in here. Oh, and now it's gonna rain. I'm feeling the rain. So I feel like I got a pretty good, captured a pretty good amount of what I wanted to capture here today. Definitely want the highlights up in here of this tree. Oh, my kitty cat got out. How did my kitty cat get out? So, there it is. I'm going to put some of these little balls on this tree. This was a little, I don't know, I forgot what it's called, but anyways. Maybe we don't need those. Maybe we just leave it. Oh, one more thing I get asked a lot about is palette knife. So I'm going to take some Naples yellow and white and just do a couple, maybe add some ochre. 'Tis the season to use ochre. La 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 la. If you don't use yellow ochre in the fall, you need to start, because it's like that time of year. So put a little yellow ochre in here, because it's here. And I got to get that kitty and get him in the house before this storm comes. Look at that kitty. Uh-oh. So you can use your underpainting, but it is fun to add sometimes. At the end, just a little bit of something, you know? Just something. Oh, I got him. I caught him. I got him. Okay. So Vinci decided to come out while we're painting and say hello. This is the Vinci. Bob Ross would call my little yellow ochre escapade here happy accidents. That's what Bob Ross would say. Oops. Guess I should have this on here a little better. My fresh little rose. Yeah. Okay. So we've got our little painting so close to being done. I just want to put a few little, when I look out there, I just see a couple little spots I want to get. That was too much, I think. That's okay. The beauty with oil, you can always pick things up if they're too much. I feel like I just want to put a little bit of this brown into it, though. Just because it's kind of cool. I like it. I like it better than the green, too. This green bugs me. You notice I'm not saying paint a flower, paint a branch, paint a piece of grass. I'm just putting in random shapes kind of thing here. And then I'm going to leave it. Now here we do have some little things that are kind of coming off into the water. A good thing for loading one side of your palette knife and just kind of let a few of these things come off into the water. And then sometimes I like to let the turp just like that. Sometimes less is more. Sometimes less is more. If you've never done plein air painting, here's a secret. You can very quickly screw something up. So there it is. That's my 2 cents. This needs a tiny bit of highlight here. Again, if I were to take this highlight all the way everywhere, it wouldn't look good anymore. Just a tiny, tiny bit of highlight. And then it needs to be carried a little bit over into here, I think. I look out there and I see these bright colors, but we just need very few, right? Now, I don't want to overdo it. I think it's done. Sign it and you are done. Well, if you think the red in my painting's extreme, look at the red up in that tree. Pretty extreme. I didn't do as many sky holes. I really like my little painting. So thank you so much for tuning into my show today. Hopefully you were able to do a cute little plein air painting. Find a beautiful flower. So here is my Halloween special plein air painting of the fall color. I'm pretty happy with it. Thank you to all my subscribers, and thank you to all my Patreon followers. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do it now. Helps my channel. I can keep bringing free content. Have an awesome day. See you next time.